Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have an exciting topic, CSAT reporting, maximizing client retention. With us today, we have a special guest, Brad Benner, founder of Next.to, and Daniel Martin, president of ConnectSMART. We'd like to thank you both for taking the time to talk to us today. Before we begin, I just want to remind everyone we will have some time set aside at the end of the discussion for your questions. So please feel free to type in your questions in the box and we'll get to those towards the end of the program. Now let's dive right into the program. I'm going to turn it over to Dan Martin of ConnectSMART.
Thank you very much, Maria, and welcome everyone to our webinar on CSAT, and special thanks to Brad, as Maria mentioned. So today we're going to be talking about CSAT, how it works, why it's important, why we use it not only at ConnectSMART in our MSP as well, and why you should be as well, and then also how it ties into ConnectSMART and how you can really take that analysis to the next level. So as Maria mentioned, we do have Brad with us today, and we're very excited about that. So all the way from Germany, I will turn this over to Mr. Benner.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Glad to participate in this webinar. We're particularly excited about this integration that we've been working on for the last 6 months or so with ConnectSMART, and excited to launch that today and show our solutions. So Dan, you're going to give me control of the, oh, I've got it already. Okay, great.
Yep, you should be good.
So what I'd like to do is, for those of you that haven't seen our solution, I'll walk you through the experience, and maybe I'll just briefly talk about the problem that we were trying to solve when we set out to build the solution. I ran an MSP in Seattle for a bunch of years, and one of the things I was particularly excited about when I implemented ConnectWise for the first time was the built-in surveys, and I thought, okay, this will finally give us an opportunity to have our finger on the pulse of what our client's experience is. And so we were excited. We implemented the surveys. You know, we started sending them out, and guess what happened? Well, we got basically no responses. So that effort, which we were thinking was going to lead to having great insight into our client's experience, really didn't yield any information that was actionable that we could actually do something with. So we set out to solve that problem, and we built essentially a one-click client satisfaction solution specifically for ConnectWise that has proven and yields our partners a really high response rate. So what you're seeing on screen here first is this email, and this is a sample email that shows you the question that we ask, which is how did we do on this request, and we use 3 smiley faces that provide a visual way of responding to the question, right? So clients or the end user reads the question, they see the smiley faces, and they're able to very quickly, with very little thought and therefore little effort, decide which smiley face best represents their level of satisfaction, and it's a one-click response. So they literally just click the face that corresponds to that. What they then get is an optional comment form, but at this point we've already captured their response, so we already know that they're rating this particular service ticket as satisfied. Here they can leave an optional comment and submit that as well. We actually find that the end users often do leave comments, not only the negative comments, but also quite positive ones that can therefore be turned into, for example, testimonials or case studies or quotes that you might be able to use in your own marketing materials. So that's the basic end user experience, and we've built it to be as streamlined as possible, because we know that anytime you ask the end user to make when you ask more of them from an effort perspective, that is what tends to cause them to not respond to the surveys, right? So when you think about the built-in surveys within ConnectWise and how they get presented as a question, often as a link buried in text, and then you have to find it and click on that, and then often the surveys that partners implement may have 5 to 10 questions with varying scales and complexity in terms of answering that. All of that effort ends up reducing significantly the number of people that actually respond to their surveys. So our partners, for example, using our system get on average a 37% response rate. And when you get that level of response, then you're able to really start having an understanding of what your client's experience is. So that's the end user experience that I just walked you through, and I'll show you then the data that gets collected within our system. Let's make sure here, yeah, we're looking at our demo environment. So the information that then is being collected vis-a-vis the closed service ticket status messages that are going out from your service board is then available within our system. And of course, there's a lot of information that there's a lot of analytics that you can work with. Also, so you're seeing essentially the individual responses below that come in. You're able to click on any individual response and make notes. So for example, if you reach out to the client to get more information about what had happened or more context for the situation, you want to record that, you're able to do that right within Next.to. We also provide a flexible tagging system if you're categorizing the CSAT reactions by themes, for example, both maybe areas of improvement. For example, if you're noticing that there's a communication issue, for example, that you may want to categorize the CSAT reactions by. Our system allows you to do that. And then we also have a basic workflow that allows you to mark the reactions as done after you reviewed them. So we'll save that tag there and then mark this one as done. And so that's the basic workflow that we've built within Next.to. Of course, you're able to then work with the individual reactions if you want to, for example, just see all of the neutral or negative reactions. We provide a set of filters that allow you to easily do that. Of course, you could then also filter by company or resource. Maybe you want to see reactions by a specific date. So this is all kind of the reporting and analytics experience that we provide. And I'll show you just the configuration piece is also quite simple. So I showed you the email a moment ago that was an example email that might go out at the close of the service ticket. The way that it's implemented is a simple HTML snippet that we provide that has all the information that's needed in order to render the question and the smiley faces and then provide the link back to our system. So it's really quite easy to implement. You would just copy this HTML snippet into the closed status message from your service board, and then essentially everything's in place to start collecting reactions. So that's the basic use of the tool. We have an automation engine that allows you to perform various actions after the reactions come in. For example, if you're wanting to change the status of the service ticket, so here's an example automation rule that changes the status of a service ticket when a positive reaction is received, so actually closing out and marking the ticket as resolved. So that's the automation engine. There's a lot. It's very powerful that you can do with it. And we've got some examples here on screen. So that's the basic overview. We'll have a question and answer time that we'll be able to answer any specific questions, but I'll hand this back over to Dan. And Dan, if you have any questions, certainly feel free to ask those, but otherwise I'll hand this back to you now at this point.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Brad. That is, I don't know, folks, but that is just so cool. You know, when I first saw this this tool, I was ecstatic. I don't know how many of you have read the white paper about the top, the top 5 metrics that an MSP should be running in their business, and one of those in that original white paper was talking about tracking your actual customer satisfaction. And you know, that actual customer satisfaction, if you were one of those people who read it, it did require, it was a great idea of how we did all this stuff in the surveys inside of ConnectWise, but to be able to really track the feedback in that closed loop, it really required us to, or required somebody to almost have a master's degree in ConnectWise engineering to be able to set up the surveys the proper way to be able to get that stuff to work. And so when I first saw this from Brad, you know, I couldn't wait to purchase this ourselves. And so as Brad was showing you the tool, you know, a lot of you are maybe familiar with ConnectSMART. if you're not, really the idea around ConnectSMART is we are a tool for dashboarding and reporting, and it's really designed around taking just the pieces of information that you want to see and making it accessible to you. So if I take an example of a standard NOC dashboard, pulling information from a lot of different places. It may be pulling from, from an RMM system, from ConnectWise, and then, also being able to pull the piece of information that I care the most about for me is, those CSAT things that need to be followed up with, being able to see, what my responses are, what my score is, things like that, but being able to really identify just the piece of information that I want and put it into whatever other context I want. So this is a great example of kind of a combined dashboard that includes information from all over, from all kinds of different systems and tied into one in the case of a like a NOC. If I look at one that we did specifically just for CSAT, I actually scaled this down a little bit. We have about, I think there's another 15 or so additional CSAT numbers and metrics that you can track, so as far as unique ones. And of course, you have the ability with ConnectSMART to focus it down. Maybe you only want to look at the CSATs on a particular service board, or you only want to look at ones that fit a particular criteria. You have the ability to do that. And the piece that Brad was showing about marking something as done, I'll show you really how that whole closed loop. In our case, I want to follow up on anything that has any comment on it, whether it's a positive or neutral. I also want to make sure that I'm following up on anything that has that is obviously a neutral or a negative. And so as in the rest of ConnectSMART, have the ability to click on the number that I want to focus on. I can see here that I've got, these are the ones that are requiring follow-up. I would then click on it to have it drive me all the way back into the CSAT reaction. So as long as I've been logged in, now it's going to take me to that CSAT to go ahead and put in what my results are, the way that Brad was showing you. So, I could put in here, spoke with the customer, wanted to understand why he wasn't excited because there was no comment. I can now then mark that as done and continue back on to my workflow back in ConnectSMART and following up on my individual CSAT responses. So we found this to be just a very, very valuable tool as far as CSAT itself, and we're really, really excited to be able to work with Brad and with his team to be able to pull that information directly into the ConnectSMART platform. So we do have a native integration that is built for the Next.to, and so in our integrations, you can very easily simply add that into your ConnectSMART platform, and it walks you right through the wizard to integrate all of your CSAT data. The Next.to will export it, will import it right into your tenant, and now you'll be able to have that information available to you on your dashboard and any of the dashboards that you wish to display that information. Now, in addition to the dashboarding, of course, ConnectSMART is also reporting. I did have a kind of a sample here I'll just bring over so you can see of just an idea of how you can pull a lot of information and, again, display that the way you want to see that, whether you want to look at that by company, you want to see that by the individual resources, you want to see kind of that overall. You have the ability to mix and match the data to see it any way that you want to see it, to be able to take action on it, which is really what's important for us, is to be able to not only have the understanding of where are we from a customer satisfaction standpoint, but how can we make it better? That's really what we're all about doing, is making it better. All right, so I went through that very quickly, and so I'm actually going to I realized I went by this a little bit faster than I had planned on, but we didn't want to spend too much time and get bogged down. But it really is important. The classic Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets managed. It is so important that if we want to have better customer satisfaction, we need to know where we are. And in really leveraging the Next.to CSAT tool, we found that it has really given us a very, very high response rate. I think ours is actually, last time I looked at it, we had actually gotten up to 50% of a response rate on CSAT, which is just incredible. So it allows us to really focus on something. We can find those places where maybe the customer isn't as happy, and we can find those ways to do a better job. And then we can also take advantage of the customers who are happy and who have given us that feedback to thank them for that and to make our company better. So I want to thank everyone for coming out and visiting with us today and being on this webinar. I hope that you've had a little bit of a experience of what ConnectSMART is all about, what CSAT is all about, and how that with working together, how we can really make that a an even better platform with both of them working together. So we do have a couple things that are that we're excited to tell you about. We do have the CSAT integration that's available. So if you are an existing ConnectSMART customer or are ready to become a ConnectSMART customer, you can go to connectsmart.com/next2, and we will include the integration to Next.to at no charge for your subscription. So that's a $75 a month value that you get at no additional charge, just for being customers of both Next.to and ConnectSMART. And also, if you don't have the Next.to CSAT yet, you definitely need to do so, and Brad has made it very easy to where you can go to the Next.to/ConnectSMART and get 10% off your first year just for being a customer and for having a chance to go through this webinar today. So both of these offers are valid through April 30th.